Welcome to the third edition of Unfit to Print. This is a weekly U.S. News Roundup working to cut through the billionaire-owned media's BS and keep you caught up with what you need to know. For those of you watching for a history class in the far future, this will be November 11th, 2025 through November 18th, 2025. I hope for both our sakes the normal people of the world got together and made things better. This week we've got Epstein news, a Starbucks strike, Epstein news, final preparations for war on Latin America, Epstein news, the Saudis at the White House, Epstein news, an ICE invasion of North Carolina, and more crimes from Israel, which are somehow also Epstein news, as you'll soon see. I'll start with Latin America. After some embarrassing and expensive issues with fuel leaks, the Gerald Ford Carrier Group is in place in the Caribbean and ready to police drug trafficking, apparently. More strikes have taken place on alleged drug boats, and I say alleged with serious emphasis because the proof doesn't exist at any level of the claim still. Secretary of State Rubio has announced that the Cartel de los Soles will be dubbed soon a foreign terrorist organization. What is this cartel? Well, it's what they're calling the Venezuelan government, which Rubio and Trump are now dubbing illegitimate, with the latter claiming this gives them legal right to bomb the country. CBS News confirmed that Hegseth is presenting bombing plans to Venezuela to Trump, and President Maduro is calling his people to prepare for guerrilla war, if need be. Similar allegations are floating about the government of Colombia, to which Gustavo Petro, president of Colombia, replied, quote, "A clan of pedophiles wants to destroy our democracy. To keep Epstein's list from coming out, they send warships to kill fishermen and threaten our neighbor with invasion for their oil. They want to turn the region into another Libya." It's hard to argue with his reasoning. The people of Latin America, more broadly, seem increasingly hostile to U.S. imperialism, with Trump-aligned President of Ecuador, Daniel Noboa, last week failing to pass a public referendum allowing for new U.S. military bases in the country. The economy is in serious trouble. We'll talk about it on this week's Workers Lit news show, but the AI bubble, and yes, it is a bubble, is showing signs of instability. September job numbers will come out next week from a recently reopened federal government, and we may never get October numbers, but they don't suggest good things. We have the ADP and Challenger private job reports, which say 42,000 jobs were added, while 153,000 or more were cut, the highest October in 20 years for job cuts, the worst single month since the Great Recession. Amazon's cutting, General Motors is cutting, IBM, UPS, Microsoft, Paramount. We'll see what happens. The Trump White House is trying to say they've been all about affordability, but the math doesn't bear that out. Consumer spending is down. They put out completely cooked numbers about Thanksgiving being cheaper this year than last year, cutting more than a fifth of the items at the table. And they're using what political leverage they have to hollow out institutions that could make a difference right now, like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which Russell Vought is using legal loopholes to defund after losing mass firing battles in court. This has been, in my opinion, Trump's worst week ever. Maybe that's why he chose to spend Monday with his buddy, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, mass murderer, and new owner of Call of Duty and Madden football, Mohammed bin Salman. The Crown Prince is seeking new security agreements with the United States, similar to the deals signed with Qatar recently. Trump wants bin Salman to normalize with Israel, something the Crown Prince would be more than happy to do, if not for the pesky fact that his people almost unanimously frown on fellow Arabs and Muslims being mass murdered. Doubtless the two also discussed further plans to mitigate the absolute ass-beating the U.S.-Saudi-UAE coalition received in Yemen, and to scheme about butchering the population of Iran. Just what you do with your buddies. Speaking of mutual buddies, Epstein's email trove alleges Trump received direct bribes in the hundreds of millions from MBS. So make of that what you will. Which brings us right into Epstein. Last week, House Oversight Committee released tens of thousands of emails from Jeffrey Epstein containing some truly wild stuff. These have everything from famed economist Larry Summers complaining to Epstein about the friend zone and cancel culture, to Epstein repeatedly mentioning his buddy Trump. Trump's name appears more than 1,500 times in the released documents. Their time spent trafficking young women, and Epstein ominously stating he could take Trump down mere months before his mysterious suicide. Other fun tidbits were Epstein's close relationship with tech freak and J.D. Vance puppet master Peter Thiel, proof of him hanging out with Steve Bannon, and a shocking amount of interaction with high-level journalists like Landon Thomas Jr. of the New Yorker/New York Times, and others who were protecting him in the media. Trump has lost control of his coalition on this one. MAGA stalwart Marjorie Taylor Greene has fully defected, she and Trump publicly declaring enmity. Dozens of House Republicans were begged not to revolt on this issue by Trump to limited success. It's gotten to the point where Trump has now reversed, calling for the release of the Epstein files, presumably in an attempt not to be embarrassed by his own party voting against him. I'll note he said they'll only release what they're legally entitled to and has ordered the Department of Justice to investigate Democrat Epstein connections, which, hey, I'm all for, but let's bring down all the crooks, including Donald Trump. It's also messy and embarrassing that one could almost miss the Epstein emails further confirm a long-known fact, that Epstein had an extremely close personal relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. On top of that, we find that Israeli intelligence asset Yoni Karin spent weeks at a time at Epstein's Manhattan home, and shockingly, Epstein was involved in, and I'm not kidding, negotiations between Israel and foreign nations. He helped establish a back channel between Israel and Russia during the Syrian civil war, helped sell Israeli surveillance tech to the Ivory Coast, and helped broker an Israeli security agreement with Mongolia. I'll be honest, the Epstein-Israel connection always seemed a little too cute for me, all the conspiracies tied up there in one place like a movie. I tended to downplay it, but the evidence is now insurmountable. Jeffrey Epstein was, at the least, a high-level Mossad asset. To be clear, this does not mean he worked for Israel per se, but rather shows he sat at a nexus of imperialist intelligence services, tech oligarchs, and corrupt politicians, presiding like a broker from hell itself. Epstein seems to have been the sex and secrets dealer for the entire American empire, from Washington to the Caribbean to Tel Aviv. I suppose I should mention the doings of the 51st state. It's become sickeningly routine to say that Israel continues to violate the ceasefire in Gaza, at least 266 people being directly killed, many more indirectly since the ceasefire began. UNICEF says they're blocking vaccines and needles from entering the Strip, keeping at least 40,000 children from routine vaccinations. BBC images showed Israel razing the handful of stable structures left standing in their occupied half of Gaza. Fascist mobs continue to attack farmers in the West Bank with the implicit or explicit backing of the Israeli and U.S. governments. In violation of another ceasefire, this one with Lebanon, Israel killed a school principal and others in drone strikes and shot for the third time this month at UN peacekeeping forces, once again supposedly on accident. I cannot help but remark on the absolutely remarkable spirit of the Palestinian people, who continue to work to rebuild their homes, tend their olive groves, build political power, create art, and fight back in the face of this horrific oppression. It is my sincere belief, now and forever, that Gaza, the West Bank, and all of historic Palestine will one day be free, and in its place, we will see a democracy where people of all religions and ethnicities, Jews, Muslims, Christians, you name it, can live, work, and cooperate in unity. But the only way to achieve that is to defeat the U.S.'s machinations on the region and to replace the current Israeli political system with one that is simply not an ethno-state. Of course, we also have to fight the push for an ethno-state here in the United States. Operation Charlotte's Web has been launched in North Carolina, with ICE agents flooding the streets of Charlotte and arresting dozens in brutal raids. As always, communities are mobilizing against this wave of fascist violence, with thousands taking the streets, sharing Know Your Rights materials, setting up local defense and rapid response councils, and straight up hiding their neighbors when necessary. This comes as Human Rights Watch and Cristosal released a report that confirmed cases of 252 Venezuelans sent to El Salvador who were subject to torture and sexual abuse. The report alleges the administration was fully aware that this would and is happening, and that Homeland Security head Kristi Noem witnessed this in her visits to El Salvador's prisons. What can I say? The horrors keep adding up, but so does the resistance to it. From the streets of Charlotte to the citizens' militias of Caracas to your local coffee shop, because Starbucks is on strike, y'all. On November 13th, Starbucks workers in dozens of stores walked off the job on one of the business's most lucrative days of the year, Red Cup Day, which I don't know. That's when the cups become red. I don't really get it, but I do get what workers want, which is a fair contract. Despite the union having existed for years, Starbucks refuses to properly negotiate with its workers' union, using repressive and technically illegal tactics to suppress the fair bargaining and union organizing practices, and has even stooped to accusations of the union being a threat to public security. The Starbucks union is currently asking people to boycott the company and attend picket lines to support your local striking baristas. I'll post some links in the episode description so you can find out ways to help. This may seem trivial if you aren't a barista, but when labor wins, we all win, and vice versa. Organized labor is the expression of people power in the clearest sense. It shows the ability of working class folks to shut things down when we're pushed too far. Without unions and strikes, we wouldn't have any of the things we cherish, from days off to reasonable shift lengths to workplace safety laws. We must defend these rights we already have, support our unions, and push for more and more and more, because working people deserve everything we produce. Every single last penny. Alrighty, that's the rundown. If you want to hear me and my friends, who are much smarter than me, talk about some of this stuff at greater length, check out this week's episode of Workers Lit wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening to this on a podcast app, well, just wait. The discussion part will start momentarily. Remember, it is only by understanding this messed up world that we can work together to fix it. Until next week, I'm Jay, promising that this is one show you'll never have to boycott. So, Lenore, are you gonna say something funny, or like we need? I just did my news intro, so you're gonna need to amuse us now.
I mean, I tell you what. I think it was 8 or 9 years ago, I was listening to Stupid Ho, just for the novelty of it. And never could I have predicted that the singer could be the vanguard of the global efforts to save Christianity, which, as we all know, is under siege on every front.
It's never been more over for Christianity, from what I'm hearing.
Nicki Minaj, Boko Haram is a bunch of stupid hoes. I'm sure she said that at some point.
More like
Clip that.
Haram.
Clip that. Oh my God. Well, yeah, I didn't talk about that on the news roundup. Does someone want to say what the fuck? Like, the Nicki Minaj thing is news to me.
Yeah,
so what's happening with that?
From the Associated Press, rapper Nicki Minaj took up President Donald Trump's allegations that Christians are persecuted in Nigeria, saying Tuesday at a UN event organized by America that she wants to shine a spotlight on the deadly threats. Thanked Trump for his leadership, calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to murmur. It's I don't know. I don't know. We need to dwell on it too hard. Like, there's Breakthrough News had a great segment on how the whole, religious persecution in Nigeria is overblown. So many more Muslims have died at the hands of, the militant groups going on in the north of the country. It's a weird numbers game, similar to the idea that there's like outsized violence against white farmers in South Africa, from which bad faith people derive the idea that Christians are being slaughtered en masse. It is just astonishing to me that I saw a skeet the other day that was like, this is government by Mad Libs, when it dropped that Nicki Minaj was speaking at the UN about this. I guess just, whoever... Does the president just like call up whoever they think might get attention? Can they do that? I assume they can.
I mean, let's be real. She's like the most respectable person the U.S. has had speak at the UN in a long time. So
at least she's done some good things for the world. Like, she's definitely got some like ass shaking songs that I appreciate, and that cannot be said for Donald Trump, for Colin Powell. When was the last time Colin Powell made an Anaconda tight song? I mean,
I would rather she represent us than any of the ghouls that the State Department sends up there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, y'all might hear another voice on the pod. That you are not deceived. We have a very special guest today for this third edition of our news.
Who is it?
News subsection. Who could it be? It is Johnny, writer for Hard Drive and from the podcast Culture Dumpster. Welcome to the show, Johnny.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I was bragging to some of my lefty friends that I was about to make an appearance on a socialist podcast, and they were like, hell yeah. So,
Johnny,
thrilled to be
we've
here.
brought you on because you are an expert on Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. Yeah, I celebrated her entire catalog. So
I think that's going to be my going bit. Josh is brought on as a Mr. Beast expert, and Johnny is brought on as a Nicki Minaj expert. Also, I should say, Jen, we're happy to have you back. Last week took a birthday break, a much deserved birthday break, but now back.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I'm another year older and another year wiser. So ask me anything.
That means for Jen's birthday, everyone has to rate this show and also How the Red Was Won 5 stars, subscribe, tell your friends, etc. It is not optional. It is actually required.
It's necessary.
This is the first record as well after World Anti-Communism Week, which apparently last week was. So I guess we win.
We won. Yeah, we did it, y'all. We did it.
Yay, we made it.
Yeah, it turns the world. We got rid of the communists. They're all gone. Turns China is in shambles. The U.S. century has begun. Re-begun. The century of humiliation for the United States. That I like the argument. It began with Trump's birthday parade in summer. Is canceled.
What was that Colbert book? Re-becoming the greatness we never weren't.
Jesus.
I am America, and so can you.
You know, I don't have much else to say about the Nigeria thing, except the United States should not militarily intervene anywhere. And
well, hang on now. Let's
let's hear the counter argument from our Nicki Minaj expert.
First of all, I said this before we started recording, but anywhere we go, we are greeted as liberators.
Naturally,
true.
Everyone loves us. Nothing bad ever happens. We show up, we get rid of the bad guys, and we establish democracy, and we leave. And that's it. That's the only thing that's ever happened.
That's true.
So
that's what I read in my history books.
You know what? Before too much longer.
Yeah. The thing is, what I want to note is obviously what's happening in Nigeria, there's horrifying violence going on. Right. And Boko Haram obviously has killed a lot of people, and like Lenore acknowledged, more Muslims than Christians. But of course, innocent Christians have died. And what would be great if the countries of Africa had the rights to their mineral resources and weren't being constantly exploited.
Again, I'm going to have to stop you.
You're counter argument. What if we just bombed them? Right.
No. No. What needs to happen is someone who is more responsible, understands the markets better, maybe.
Yes.
Just let them get in there, and the benefits will trickle down to the rest of the country.
Yes.
I think
we're waiting. We've been waiting 500 years, but the trickle down to Africa will soon begin.
Yeah.
Trickle down cobalt.
That is the other half of it that makes this very similar to Venezuela, of course, is that Nigeria's super, super rich in rare earth metals. And if China decides to put export restrictions on those, then, we got to go somewhere else for them is the logic.
Right. So, foreign intervention is bad. Same thing with Venezuela, address it in this week's summary, but, the carrier groups are in place. I don't know what's going to happen next, but they really. What can we say except fuck that doesn't look good.
I would like to get everyone in the room's opinion. What's the chart, the graph that shows the amount of Epstein files that are released versus the likelihood that we're about to nuke some other sovereign nation? Because I feel is this all a distraction, or is it we can distract from Epstein and also get a bunch of oil?
And stop a leftist government from doing good things for their people. It's all win for America that way.
Yeah. Oh my God. We just can't stop fucking around in South America, can we?
We can't stop winning.
Venezuela has been
That's a great
in the
point,
crosshairs.
Actually.
Yeah, Venezuela's been in the crosshairs for a long time, of course. I mean, the especially under the Obama administration was when the really harsh sanctions regime began on Venezuela, and a lot of kind of undercover operations. There was that famous, really embarrassing operation under Trump 1, where like those guys went on the shore and they were carrying American passports.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, and they got arrested by like some fucking fishermen because one of them posted a selfie.
Oh my god.
Like,
Uh
I like to think there are people in the Trump administration that are like possibly still sore about that, and that like maybe is driving some things too. So there is
Pete
a
Hegseth is
material.
going to lead the charge. He's going to be
Oh yeah.
storming the
Mm.
beach with them. You know what?
If
And all of
Pete
them will be
Hegseth-
clean shaven.
If Pete Hegseth is there, I am joining an international brigade so I can 1v1 him in real life. I'm gonna say
How tall is Pete Hegseth? Out
I
of
don't care.
curiosity?
I don't care. It's on site. It's
I
on
mean,
site.
he
with
has
Pete
the
Hegseth.
energy
I
of a
don't.
man
I know that might
is
be
like 5 foot nothing.
editor. Please, if that's actionable, edit it out. But if it's not actionable, leave it in. It's on site with Pete Hegseth.
I'm just saying you have 4 inches on him.
I do have 4 inches on him. And also like it doesn't matter. I don't care if Pete Hegseth was 8 feet tall. Like it's gonna be like a mom picking a car off her child, but like with hatred instead of love.
What's especially funny about that last coup attempt is that, you know the way that the US does things, right? They send people in there. If they fuck up, like plausible deniability, we don't know these guys, whatever, right? Except the guy who was in charge of training these mercenaries. I forget what his name was, but he was like, no, you fucked me over, and he sued the government about it.
More CIA guys should do that.
I think my biggest worry about what they're doing fucking around with Venezuela is like the creation of like a Gulf of Tonkin type incident.
Yeah.
Like I really think that's what they're gearing up for. They have all those troops in Puerto Rico right now, just kind of like getting ready to send them away when and if something happens. And like I really think that they're going to and it probably will like coincide with the Senate voting on releasing the Epstein files. And then all of a sudden, look what Venezuela did. Now we have to attack. I really think there's going to be some sort of stage.
Oh, that has
event.
already passed both houses of Congress
It
Oh, did
passed,
it pass
the
the
Senate,
Senate?
today?
unanimously. Yep.
Oh shit.
It's gonna go
Breaking
to Trump.
news.
But here's the
I didn't
rub.
know that.
My personal theory and what I've seen a lot of others say is like this, like they're just going to say national security about everything and then use that to delay releasing them or just like, censoring everything.
Yeah,
But
Trump
also
said
like
that he's going to release everything that they have. He says that the people have the right to see. So that
Right.
that gives quite a leeway, especially since this is not a normal relationship to an attorney general's office. This administration has,
no, this is deeper than Nixon. Like this
is fucking Pam Bondi. No, we're doing Watergate every day now, and we're posting it like that, no doubt.
Yeah, this is the first president to post through it all the time.
Speaking of which, he literally said, I have authorized covert operations in Venezuela, which like, dude, maybe you shouldn't have said that.
Great. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
That's a that reminded me immediately of what Jen said a couple weeks ago about like the one upside of Trump from like being someone who is trying to change America perspective is, hey, look, he's saying the thing out loud. And that, if nothing else, at least gives us that like rhetorical thing to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
But cold comfort, of course, if you're like someone who lives in Venezuela or Colombia right now, of course.
Or Palestine or like literally anywhere.
Right.
God, speaking of Palestine, I was listening to, and yeah, y'all can feel free to jump in as well. I was listening to Ben Norton about this. I was reading a little bit about what the substance of the vote is. By 13-0 on the Security Council, Russia and China ended up abstaining for some reason. Now control of Gaza is being turned over to an international task force led by the U.S. and their so-called peace board. Which Donald Trump personally will be chairing through 2027.
Great. Fantastic. I love this news. Thank you for sharing this with me.
And if you look up this vote in the UN, you can see a map that's basically like, okay, the Gaza Strip is now shrunk like even smaller. There's a little over 50% of it that's going to be under the control of this authority. They're going to like do their horrific like Gaza Riviera shit there. And then the rest of it's just rubble.
Mm-hmm. And part of it is also disarming any militants. They have to lay down their arms. You know, as a American, as a Westerner, I try not to be super critical of China because I know they're building socialism in their way, and I try to stay out of it because I don't get it fully, right? Obviously not. But I hate that, like, as a member of the Security Council, like, they could have vetoed this. And, like,
Yeah.
why does Russia has every reason to be like, fuck the US? Like, I feel like them not vetoing it was just very disheartening to see that, like, literally nobody with the power to stand up to this was willing to do it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
China thing, China and Russia originally said any plan that involves anything short, or I'm sorry, it was any plan that involves anything beyond just like helping out. They said anything that could involve actual policing, they would vote against, but that is obviously not what happened. Um, Russia, I feel like, is at least explicable through their arms trades with Israel. It happens through Turkey a lot. It's a thing people don't like to talk about because it's an uncomfortable, kind of an uncomfortable truth that like weapons traders do not give a shit who they're selling to on either side of like the geopolitical divide. I I don't have a good answer on China. I don't know why China would do this. I'm not. It's not to say like, oh, China has been this, anti-imperialist stalwart. They really haven't. They have been very much trying to be their own lane, not start a war with the United States. Um, it's fucking disappointing. There's no other way. There's no other way to put it. And of course, like the primary blame needs to go on our country for what we're doing here. And also, like, I don't know if there's U.S. boots put on the ground and those people get fucking shot. Like, they're invading these people's land. You know what I mean? And that's something that we need to be ready to talk about too. It's fucking bleak though. I mean, it is. To me, of course, it is. Like, thank God the bombing does not continue at the rate that it was. It has not stopped. But thank God that some people have been able to get food. But like it's such a such a low bar.
Yeah. It's completely disgusting. It's one of the most shameful things that we've ever had a hand in my lifetime. And
Yeah.
I'm 37 now, so I've been alive for quite a few atrocities carried out on behalf of America. But it's just it's incredibly upsetting, and it's hard to know what, if anything, to say or feel other than disgust at the complete disregard for human life. And it's it's really fucked up. But hey, that's why for Hard Drive, when we do our Game Awards next month, we're raising money for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund.
Oh yeah,
that's really cool.
That's what we're fundraising for, and I will plug that again later. I did not know how to conclude that sentence in anything.
No,
that
that's
wasn't
good.
just me like screaming.
Yeah,
losing my mind.
Is there a link perhaps we can share in the show notes? Get more eyes on that.
Yeah, there's a post that I put up on Blue Sky.
Great,
that we can.
That'll
link
be in
to,
the show notes.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. And we got to do what we can, to let
focus on what you can
survive.
do
But I think you're right that like
yeah,
the United States has obviously like done so many crimes, but there was like, even in Iraq and Afghanistan, there was this like pretense that we were going to build a democracy there, that there was going to be I don't want to like downplay the fucking shit that was done there, but I'm like, there was at least a narrative that there was going to be something built there. And like, they have barely tried that for somewhere like Gaza. They haven't tried it at all for Venezuela.
No,
they're just like, we're going to burn all of it, is what they're saying. Like, the only plan they have for Gaza is that one AI video Trump posted of like it literally being Trump hotels and nothing else.
Well, hang on. Well, let's talk about that some more, because that sounds pretty glamorous.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
God.
Well, somewhere else that's probably about to build a Trump hotel is Saudi Arabia. Everybody's favorite owner of EA Games visited the White House, presumably to talk about the new Call of Duty game with Donald Trump. Mohammed bin Salman is in town, folks. And Trump said, I mean, it sounds fake, but they were asked about, Mohammed bin Salman killing an American journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. And he said, one, things happen. And two, a lot of people didn't like that guy.
Oh my God.
Who among us has not sent armed goons to saw a journalist in half of an evening?
He just wishes he could do that to journalists who make him angry. Like,
right.
That's why he loves MBS, because he wants to have he wants to send Stephen Miller to go, dissect
Mhm.
some bodies, which Miller just does for fun,
Right.
in his free time.
He looks like
So
the type.
But enough
yeah,
about our upcoming Frankenstein episode, right? Hopefully we don't come off too hypocritical, considering some of the things that we have intimated should happen to certain journalists. But we have, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, and I don't
only the
know.
evil ones.
Yeah, only the ones that are calling for like war in Venezuela, like Brett Stevens.
Yeah.
Um,
I do love. Did y'all see that Current Affairs is running a promotion right now where if you email them photographic proof of you canceling your subscription to the New York Times, they will give you a free year's subscription to Current Affairs.
that's sick. That's sick.
Nathan J. Robinson was said. I believe they've cost the New York Times something like $30,000 in lost annual subscription revenue at this stage.
Hell yeah.
Drop in the
I
bucket,
mean-
but it's something.
Yeah. Go listen to our Nathan J. Robinson episode from a few months ago. Any thoughts? I am just I am delighted by the idea of like Trump and MBS talking about, like, I love the idea of them having a conversation about the future of EA gaming, considering that is a thing that the
I'm
Saudi
very
Arabia
excited about
owns
the Battle
now.
Pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trump is like, what Call of Duty in Yemen, where you get the shit kicked out of you by like an inferior force? Like, what is Saudi? Oh God.
Well, the thing about that is also like they just loaded EA up with $20 billion worth of debt. So once the deal is official or like settled or whatever, it's gonna be such a fucking bloodbath. I have a really good friend of mine who works there, on what used to be FIFA, and he's not feeling good about this. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
What's happened to FIFA?
They lost the FIFA license because FIFA wanted them to pay some obscene amount of money. And if you know anything about FIFA, you should know that they are one of the most nakedly corrupt organizations on the planet. And so rather than paying, the license fee, they just changed it to EAFC. That's all.
Okay.
So after like, I don't know, close to 3 decades of having like EA FIFA, like just it's something else now because they didn't want to pony up the cash to pay.
And now it belongs to Saudi Arabia.
It does, yeah. They own soccer, actually.
Wow,
So
bangs and whispers.
I saw that they did a military flyover while he was there. Like, it's just so it's silly. Like, it really is just like putting a second grader in charge and doing all the the jets are fun. I love jets. Remember when Trump got in that big rig and he was like, yeah, he's like a second grader.
That's the happiest he's ever been.
Right, and it would be maybe even cute or funny if he wasn't, a fascist monster that has all the power in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you remember there was a quote from him from his first term, where he said, "When I look at myself at 5 and I look at myself now, mentally, there's not much difference there." Really, I'm like paraphrasing it a little bit, but that was the gist of it. It was like he says, like, and there's also, you may have seen, it's been shared a lot, this post of someone saying like, I have a theory that everyone is 12 theory.
Yes.
Like, these are just a bunch of 12-year-old boys in control of everything and making it our problem.
I think too, it's worth noting that this Saudi Arabia, the conversation, aside from just the openly, like, kind of nakedly corrupt dealings that go on, something in those Epstein emails we're going to mention intimates that there was just straight up just payouts happening to Trump directly from the Saudi crown. But I think it should be worth noting that, like, Saudi Arabia is also in their mind a critical ally in the eventual war against Iran that they want so badly. I mean, Trump just gave a speech, I think today, at the McDonald's Summit of Innovation, which is not a joke. It sounds like I'm making that up. And he on stage was like, "Y'all remember when we bombed Iran? Wasn't that cool? Like in summer?" And I'm like, Trump is speaking at the McDonald's Summit about bombing Iran. Like,
Our burger president.
There is no jokes left to make.
Yeah.
But I will still try. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna still
Oh
try.
my god. You know what? It's such a shame that he can be funny because he's such a piece of
Mhm.
shit.
Mhm.
Like he's
I
such a
just
uniquely evil man. But incredible poster. I don't think it
yeah,
can be denied.
being at the McDonald's thing is really and he says, I had McDonald's once, maybe twice. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Well,
You bloviating piece of shit.
yes. Well, any other thoughts on foreign policy before we get into well, it's connected to foreign policy, I suppose. The network of evil that underlies everything um, that we may be finding some more information about now.
The network? Do you mean LinkedIn?
Even worse somehow.
Fuck.
Well, so there's this Epstein guy.
I wanted to
Heard
lead
of
into the
him?
section with Epstein didn't kill himself, but I feel like that's played out.
I at this point I would accept if Epstein was just still alive. Like I hear conspiracy theories about it now, and I'm like, literally anything could be true about
Can I
this shit
can I
at
share
this point.
my pet
I would
theory?
love to hear your pet theory.
I mean, okay, so just based on this latest tranche of emails that have come out, Donald Trump has mentioned something like almost 1,700 times
Yes.
in these emails that came out, and Epstein explicitly says in those emails, "I am the one that could take him down." He said he doesn't have a decent bone in his body. All of this stuff. My theory is because you have he died during the first Trump administration. He was either told either you do it yourself or we do it for you. Because he had, I think Bill Barr went to go visit him
Yeah.
when he was at Rikers Island, because that's where he died, right? Rikers.
It was in New York. I'm not sure
It was
which
in New
prison it
York.
was.
I think it was Rikers. If it may not be, it was in New York. But yeah, that's my pet theory is that he's like, well, I could hang myself, and that would probably be better than whatever they have planned for me. That's my personal theory. But also, like with the
I mean,
amount of like security footage and stuff that's lacking, who knows? Someone
I
could have
really
gone there and
appreciated the AI video someone made. That was it was a conservative account that was like saying like this is an AI video, but it makes you think. And it was Hillary Clinton personally walking in and killing Jeffrey Epstein. And
yeah,
I'm like, and they were being dead serious. They were like,
yeah. Well,
obviously this is AI, but it gives you chills.
If you're afraid of it, that makes it true.
Yeah.
For the record, it was at the Metropolitan Correctional Center.
Okay,
Metropolitan Correctional. So yeah, ideas about how the guy himself died aside. Holy shit, y'all.
yeah. It's fucking nuts. I don't know how close you three have been paying attention to the coverage of it, or like seeing the reports that come out about all this new information that has come out, but like if this is what he's okay with being out there, like what could possibly be hiding in the rest of these documents that makes him look worse than he does already? He said he walked into a sliding glass door because he was too distracted by the teenage girls.
Once again, another example of just like this man isn't real. You know what I mean? Like
he's a cartoon.
How
like did his eyes bug out like the cartoon wolf? Auga.
He takes out a hammer, like whacks himself over the head. His ghost comes out and he grabs the ghost.
Oh,
pulls it back into
please,
himself.
please, Donald.
The tongue just rolls out.
I don't buy that he has this like newfound entity with Marjorie Taylor Greene and like Thomas Massey and whatever. I think that's largely like theater to rehabilitate the larger edifice of the Republican Party. Yeah. But like it is astonishing to me still. Like I have, one rarely sees such a nearly unanimous vote as took place in the House. It was 427 to 1 against releasing the files. The one, of course, was Clay Higgins, representative from Louisiana, who distinguished himself previously by supporting David Duke's campaign for governor.
Clay Higgins is a guy that should not have any political power, but he should have a stand-up special. From prison, to be clear, like Jerry Seinfeld in the last episode of Seinfeld.
He
Good
should also
God.
be in prison, to
I
be
was gonna say,
fair.
put Seinfeld in there too.
Put them both in the same cell, and they'll put like duct tape down like half of everything.
Ooh,
Yes.
I
They
like
could be like the prison version of Abbott and Costello.
Mhm.
You know,
But
just
Lenore,
like
go
two
on. I'm sorry.
pedophiles.
So another fine mess you've gotten me into. But yeah, we mentioned it earlier. House passed it. Senate was like, okay, like we're gonna pass it just like sight unseen. So the official like on paper like procedural like whole passage of this is at time of recording tomorrow, Wednesday the 19th of November. And Donald Trump has said he's made a like about face on this and said that yeah, I'll sign this into law. Let's just get this over with. After which the Justice Department has 30 days to release everything. Well, not everything, of course. There's still like executive privilege is probably going to be invoked on various things, but like it is difficult to imagine. It's difficult to imagine how this is not. I mean, Jacob, you called this Trump's worst week yet.
I think it is. I do. But before I speak further to that, Jen, what are your thoughts on this?
My hot take is that it doesn't fucking matter, like at all. Like I don't.
Why do you say that?
I didn't like read the Epstein files. I did listen to the like 2-hour TrueAnon episode about it.
Yep.
I just don't think there's really much in there that we didn't already know. Things that Trump has already admitted to when he was running for president the first time. This stuff about going into the Miss Teen USA pageant, like all of this information has more or less been out there, and it hasn't mattered at all yet, right? There's one person in prison, Ghislaine Maxwell.
And
Epstein,
apparently
obviously,
she's living very cushy in prison, according to
which
even
is
prison
crazy.
officials there.
I didn't know that
warden
Texas
makes
had
phone
a
calls
nice.
for her.
Yeah, I didn't know that Texas even had like a nice cushy prison. That was news to me. But yeah, she got moved there not that long ago, right? To like a very low security prison. But I don't know if it will make any difference at all. Like Trump isn't going to resign over this. And I can't imagine Congress getting any sort of backbone and actually doing anything, right? And like if they did, would they go after anybody else? Like would Bill Clinton also get in trouble? Would Chomsky's name is on that list? Would Bill Gates is on the, like all these other very powerful, very rich people that are listed there. If you go after Trump, then I feel like you kind of do have to go after the rest of them. And I don't think anybody in power has any sort of intestinal fortitude to do any of that because it implicates all of them, because most of them have known about this. Most of them have defended these people, and then you have people like Megyn Kelly straight up doing it's not pedophilia, it's whatever that other word is.
Ebophilia,
Look, they were like young teens. That's different than fucking an 8-year-old. Like, are we really? Yeah, she
Barely legal was the term that she used.
Yeah, as if
Not
they were
legal.
adults, it would be okay to traffic them. You know what I mean? Like, whatever age, you can't traffic a human being, Here's what I'll say. I will kind of yes but you here, Jen. I think I agree. Trump's not resigning. No one's removing Trump from power. No one's getting fucking prosecuted over this, except maybe if they find some fall guy that never mattered. I guess Jeffrey Epstein was the fall guy, right?
Literally.
And maybe Maxwell ends up dead, or maybe not. Who knows? But I do think it matters for the base. This is from conversations I've had in my own life, and also from kind of doing some browsing on the social media of I call it normie social media, but of like people that I know in my life who are more conservative inclinations, voted for Trump, kind of held their nose, but voted for Trump. And you're right, this was already out there, but this is breaking through, I think, in a way that it has not broken through previously. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. I don't know if it's just because Trump's already so unpopular. I don't know if somebody in the media was like, okay, now we can take the kitty gloves off. I don't know. But I do know this is breaking through in a way that is shaking up the more like the less hardcore parts of the base. And I think it also does do something to illegitimize the system in the eyes of people. And if it doesn't, then we really should be trying to use that as a look at all these powerful people, liberal and conservative, Republican and Democrat billionaires who are corrupt. Also, look at how Epstein is tied into the national intelligence services of the United States, of Britain, and of Israel, which I even said in my video, like when people for years have been saying he was an Israeli intelligence asset, and I was like, that seems almost like too cute. Like that seems almost no, he was. That's fucking crazy. Like it seems almost like a movie. Like there's no way this shit's all connected, but it is. And I think that is useful. Trump's not going anywhere though. Anyone who's like Trump is gonna get fucking locked up for this, it's like no. He's of course not.
I hope you're right, and that it does get to the center right or whatever people that it needs to get to actually make change. I just really worry. I've seen people on Twitter already, right wingers, even members of Congress and stuff that are like, well, when I was 20, I dated a 15-year-old, people that are really starting to excuse this shit and normalize it. And that scares the shit out of me.
No, it is insane how all these people's strategy seems to be who among us hasn't cavorted with a child sexually.
Right. Most of us haven't.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh God.
And also like it's also interesting that like people are missing the fact of like the literal trafficking of human beings too. Like that's almost like not even entered into the conversation in a way. Like the conversation about like it's almost like, oh, if they were adults, then that would have been okay. And it's part of the way that people talk about like sex workers, right? It comes down to that.
I mean,
it's part of the way people talk about the people who are pushed into the sex trade. Yeah.
It's just a very, very uncomfortable thing to reckon with, right?
Right.
Like no one wants to accept that the person they've been looking to for leadership or some kind of authority figure is a rampant rapist pedophile that traffics children. That's a hard thing to swallow. And these are the people that have been screaming and clamoring for years that there is this elite cabal of pedophiles.
Right.
And hey, good job. You got it right.
Yeah.
However, they're not speaking in code. They're just sending emails like, hey, I had a great time molesting with you this weekend. When are we going to do it again?
I mean, you're barely exaggerating. Yeah. I find the most not the most odious as in the worst crimes, but the most insane is Larry Summers emailing with Jeffrey Epstein saying, I'm getting put in the friend zone as a man who's almost 70 years old. And then he complains about cancel culture. And it's like, if you thought, I will say, and read the emails if you think these people are super geniuses. They're fucking not. They're able to because of our system. Jeffrey Epstein can't spell.
Can I be really pedantic here for a second and say that the punctuation on those emails is almost as upsetting to me as the content? As a writer, as someone who values words in the way that they are structured and presented to somebody, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you sending 50 commas?
I imagine
making a space. Like, what's going on?
I imagine for like official correspondence, they just have people doing it for them, right?
It feels like boomer texting though, and like
the
Larry Summers ones all end with "sent from my iPad."
Yep,
right.
It's so ridiculous.
I want to know
we really are led by idiots.
Larry Summers last week was like calling for like a bunch of students to be expelled for Harvard for having the gall to say Palestinians don't deserve to be mass murdered. I will appreciate, by the way, that the Harvard student newspaper that he was criticizing just published a whole article just about Larry Summers and his fucking shit. So good on the students.
Good for those students.
Good on them. Obviously vindicated. But like I think it should be noted. Look at those emails, and if nothing else, don't like sit there in despair and be like, they're just all such masterminds. They're all so intelligent. They're so powerful, and they're at like another level above us, right? If I felt that way, I might be and I feel despair, of course. I feel horror, but it's not that these people these people exist in a system that props up people with their inclinations. Somebody
They
who
have
is willing
access to
be
capital.
ruthless.
That's literally all
Right.
it is.
They have access to capital and they're willing to be fucking ruthless in a way that like that normal people aren't. But that doesn't make them super geniuses. They're not at some level higher than us. They can be defeated.
Can we talk about Trump blowing Bill Clinton?
Yes, somebody talk about that, please.
But before we do,
Let's hear
I don't
our
know
theories.
I don't know if any of you have seen it, but Larry Summers did say he is stepping back from public appearances.
Oh, good.
Oh,
You should step
But
back
he's-
off of something.
He's not resigning
Cliff.
from his position as a teacher at Harvard, but
Ugh.
he feels deep shame.
now is the Larry Summers of our discontent.
Like, also, why hasn't the school just fucking canned his ass? That was a good one.
Right, that is
Look,
wild that he still has a job.
Tenure
If
is a
Harvard
crazy
fired
fucking-
all pedophiles, then there would never mind.
There'd be no Harvard.
Tenure is a crazy thing. Like, I remember my Shakespeare prof back in college telling a story about, I forget which precisely like institution he was at, but he knew of another professor who got caught like dealing cocaine, not just like selling cocaine, but like was the nexus for like bricks and bricks and bricks, like pallets of this shit, like a major dealer. And they had to go through a whole process to fire her because
What's the
tenure
big deal?
tenure technically wouldn't allow them to just can her for that.
We used to have proper crimes in this
That's
country.
wild.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would much
Jen-
rather that than the pedophilia. Like, by all means, cocaine
Okay.
the students.
Jen, let's hear your what are your thoughts on the revelations, or maybe not, about the Clinton and Trump thing. I am struggling to fit this into my worldview, I admit.
No, same. I honestly, I hope it is true.
Of course.
Because I'm glad we finally have a queer president. I think that's really fucking cool.
Thank God.
Oh, come
It's been
on.
too
So-
long.
Congrats,
He's
we
been
did
too long.
it. We did it. First of all, as a bisexual, I am very stoked that we have a bisexual president. I think that's very cool. No, yeah.
I mean, come on, he's been blaring Phantom of the Opera.
Right?
He loves show tunes.
He loves cats, not the
he loves
animal, the
cats.
fucking musical.
Yeah, he's the zestiest president we've ever had. You're telling me he's not a little bi-curious at least?
It blows my mind that Trump has probably seen Les Miserables, and
I mean,
It blows
that
the
blows
lid.
your
Not-
mind.
not-
He's blowing Bubba.
Lenore, not seen Les Miserables. Trump recently at the White House had the army choir sing songs from Les Miserables to him while he was
I
eating.
saw that. Yes.
yeah, and it
He's
was just
into it.
Master of the House 5 times in a row.
There
I
is
just-
something
I wonder-
crazy.
I wonder if, like, is Bill Clinton really that charming? Like, everybody's
Yeah.
always said he was, and, like, that's, my mom loved him in the 90s, you know?
Right.
Like, people were, I mean, throwing themselves at this man. He was also throwing himself on people as well,
Yeah,
you know.
to be
We know
clear,
who Bill
yeah.
Clinton is. But I wonder if it was just, you know, just boys playing around. I mean, I support that in general.
Just boys.
If it was the only consensual sexual experience of Donald Trump and Bill Clinton's life,
Probably.
was between each other. I do like the idea of Bill Clinton being Zendaya from Challengers during the 2016 election with Hillary and Trump. No, I think, jokes aside, my guess is it's some kind of turn of phrase being used. I'm going to say probably, not to be a downer, Trump probably did not blow Bill Clinton. But
No.
if you want to believe that, in your heart of hearts, you have every right to believe that.
Honestly,
I
what
think that-
probably. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, I just think that we should like write it in the history books that it happened, whether it's
Yeah, I think
I mean, that email is official document now. So
it is
yes.
official document. I think the sad, horrible thing that probably happened is that they probably just like raped the same girl, and
Oh,
they
God.
considered
Oh,
that
God.
like sharing. You know, like
Yeah,
I
you're right.
really think that it's probably something very insidious like that.
Right.
Well, and to, I think you pretty effectively tie it back, Jen, to the dynamic that is at play here. If indeed Donald did become the throat goat,
put Nancy Reagan to shame.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, 2 independent sources have verified that. It happened, if it did, for the same reason that any of the child sex trafficking, that any of the rape, that any of the depravity happened, it's just power. It's
Mhm.
just ways that people flex on each other in increasingly bizarre and blackmaily ways. When you're at that level of power and you have all the wealth in the world, you can shape reality to your liking. You know, why wouldn't you orchestrate something like that of an evening?
I mean, I don't know if any of you've seen Succession, but there's always Boar on the floor. That's, you know, that's
You know,
is
if
that
someone
falling on?
I've not
Succession's
seen
been on our mind
Succession.
lately for a different reason.
I would say, uh, listeners, if you want to take action, now is the time to make a fan cam of Bill Clinton and Donald Trump to the song "Clarity" by Zed. That's what we need.
The reason, incidentally, Johnny, that Succession's been on my mind lately is because apparently Dasha got fired from this new movie, and she had been on Succession previously.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
And again, like I barely know what a Dasha is, but there is there could very well be a blonde woman shaped hole in the podcasting scene now that I'd be happy to step into. Not hosting
Right.
Red Scare.
No, Red Scare, but good. That was one
Mm,
of the pitched names for our rebrand.
Red Scarier,
Red
yes.
Red Scarier, yeah. Uh, so to round this bit out, I will say that I will be putting a ban on liberals making gay jokes forever after this, because they managed to make this unfunny within 24 hours of just like the joke being Trump is gay. And it's like that's not the funny part. They did the same shit with like Trump and Putin. They were like, what if they were gay together? And it's like, what's the joke? You know what I mean? It's funny to think like there
It's
are
funny
funny
because
versions of
gay.
right. It is shocking how like much like the average like just annoying liberal is still like just
No, do you
ragingly
remember
homophobic.
last year or the year before there was this wave suddenly of when anti-drag laws were making headlines. There was this wave of people making AI generated images of like Mitch McConnell et al.
Mm.
In drag and like dressed as a
Mhm.
woman. Or whatever, and it's like, oh, like they would hate this, and it's like, yeah, but they're never gonna fucking see it.
Yeah, there seems to be there is this weird like trying to invert it thing. And like
Mhm.
Mhm.
I get the impulse on some level, but it often feels like the joke is just haha gay, you know?
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is astonishing. Like it's this has been on my mind a little bit. But like it's once you start looking for like these various chauvinisms and you start seeing them, you don't unsee them. It's something it's something that's it hasn't even cropped up more since I like started transitioning, and like accepted that yeah I'm a lesbian. Um, Suddenly you start seeing just how casually people kind of toss this off as a punchline.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the age range is for the rest of you, but like when I was in high school and I mean all through my adolescence, people just called things gay like all the
Mhm.
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
I went to a Catholic school, which I don't know if you can believe this. There was a good amount of homophobia in my Catholic school.
Shocking.
USA.
And I went to a public high school, and even then, like, you know, my friends and I would call each other the F slur, like
Yeah.
sometimes.
Mhm.
My nickname on the soccer team, because I have really curly hair, and it was, when Lord of the Rings was really popular, was literally Frodo F slur
Yeah.
Aggins.
Yeah. That's a classic. That's a classic.
Um,
Yeah, that's a
and
classic.
cishet white man over here. So,
Hmm.
Mhm.
like,
It's it.
I've just had to
Mhm.
do a lot of like growing and learning and developing as a person all through my 20s and now into my 30s, and like it's just so tired, like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
just like you said, what's the joke? They're just like,
exactly.
Mhm. It's
you know
juvenile and
you can
like
think of other ways to make this scenario funny because it is
Hmm.
objectively funny, but not because it would be gay, but for a variety of other reasons.
it's
Mhm.
um
objectively funny because Donald Trump has a tweet that says if Hillary can't please her
yes.
husband, how can she please America? Which is obviously a horrifying sexist tweet,
Mhm.
but in the context of this makes it one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh.
Well, to transition out of this bit here, and into the economy, the numbers, the cool stuff.
The line that goes up.
The line that
Down.
goes up
The line go
ever
down.
and ever. Jen, the line only go up.
Only
The
goes
line
up.
only
Goes up.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Yeah, stocks don't go
Peter
down. I don't know what you're talking about.
Peter Thiel and also like a bunch of other people suddenly all pulling their investments from Nvidia and ChatGPT overnight over the last 2 days. Clearly there's nothing to that. The line will go up forever.
Why are you panicking?
Johnny, you know a thing or two about AI. How are you feeling about this? I mean, we're not in the business of making predictions. I will say that it is a bubble that will pop. I am not saying it is popping this week. But what are your thoughts in general on this?
I had a sneaking suspicion for the last couple years, year and a half, that like I work in the tech industry. I'm exposed to this stuff a lot. I also am just really like, I've been tech obsessed my entire life. I always wanted to have the latest and greatest gadgets. I worked at Apple retail for almost a decade. So I was exposed to like all the shit, like right whenever the smartphone really took off, right? I worked there from 2009 until 2018. So I really got to see like the rise and then this like beginning of enshittification that began to happen. But with AI, like I never got it, right? Like I'd play with it and I'm like, this doesn't seem as good as they are claiming it is or will be. And something just felt off, but all the media coverage, like everything that you'd see was just like, oh, this is the next big thing. This is going to be our next huge, like multi-billion-dollar industry. And then I discovered Ed Zitron and his newsletter and podcast, Better Offline. And he did what I didn't do, was actually like look into the numbers, and they've never been great. Like OpenAI is I guess first, like which way do you want me to approach this from? Like how in the weeds are we getting here?
Get it as much as you want. Go for it.
Okay. So OpenAI is the biggest one, right?
ChatGPT, yeah.
They own ChatGPT. That is their product. They partner with Microsoft and Oracle and all these other companies to make these data centers, to train these models. And the models have only gotten more expensive to train. The infrastructure has only gotten more expensive, and they've never turned a profit, and the technology does not scale. So the reason that we, are able to have computers that fit into our pocket like an iPhone is because that technology scales, and you're able to make it smaller and smaller, make it for less and less. Ta-da, miracle. This is just like, it's the most capital that's ever been burned on, I think, any project, at least in American history. People will look at something like Uber and say, hey, Uber, it took them a long time. Uber didn't have the same overhead and infrastructure costs that all these Gen AI companies do.
Uber also provides a service that, like, it's a shitty service that, and they exploit people, but like there is a need that Uber did fill. Like, you know what I mean?
They saw a way to go in and capture an existing market and base of users who were maybe unsatisfied with the way that cabs worked, and now Uber is profitable and still being horrible. But with OpenAI and Anthropic and all these companies, they don't make money. They lose money. And OpenAI has to share all of their intellectual property with Microsoft, because Microsoft gave them a sweetheart deal on all their Azure cloud server stuff. So like, did you see the diagram that showed like how the money was just moving from one to the other, and it just keeps looping back and back and back? And like you look at it, you're like, oh, this is a bubble, and the problem is all of these tech morons, rather than accept that like this isn't it, are just throwing piles of money onto it, and like it's just making the bubble get bigger. But if you've used the technology, like someone in your daily life, do you talk to people that share their opinions on Gen AI, and like, do you know people that use it, that like it? Or is it like when it comes up, you're like, ah, Jesus Christ. Like even say like more normie people, like your mom and dad, your aunts and uncles, like
There
people
are
who
people
aren't.
that use it, but there are a lot. I in my daily life, it's counter way more people that are like they're fucking throwing this shit in my face every time I Google
Right.
anything.
And
You know,
Mhm.
like usually that's a sign of a good product, right? Is when they have to beg you to use it, and maybe offer insane discounts on their premium tier. It costs more money to return an output than they generate. So like for every dollar that OpenAI makes, it costs like 2 something for them to generate a response. So you add to that like all the however many hundreds of millions of free users, people who are not paying for the service in any way, shape, or form, and they're just losing tons and tons of money. Like there's no way, like they're not profitable. Uh, they will never be profitable because the technology does not scale, and we're beginning to see the cracks to show a little bit. That's why you've seen people like Sam Altman out there being like, "Oh yeah,
Mhm.
we are in a bubble." Actually, like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Is that a good thing to be like to say? Like, yeah, we're in a bubble. Like, it's just such a bewildering time to be someone who pays attention to tech and has been someone who like truly like I've repaired televisions and stuff in my like spare time. I've modded Game Boys. Like I love gadgets. I have since I was a child, and I just hate what they've done to the computer. It's perverse and disgusting, and I'm like morally opposed to it because they've stolen all the world's art and use it to shit out pictures of Garfield with tits. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it has some very niche uses, but the things that they're trying to make it what they want people to use it for just doesn't work.
Mhm.
Like, and they need it to be that because they need to make as much money as smartphones or like when social media first took off. Like that's all it is. Like this is just supposed to be the next thing. They're out of good ideas. And I mean, they've all like, when was the last cool thing that Google did that wasn't just them buying another company? You know, uh,
Google has gotten worse over the last 10 years. It
yeah,
is
It
it's
not as
has.
good as it used to be.
no, it's and do you know why that is? Do you know why Google search has gotten so bad?
Probably because of like ads and shit like that, right?
Okay, so yes, Pragabar Raghavan used to be head of ads at Google. Uh, he staged a coup and became head of search. And once that happened, that's when you started seeing more ads, more time, more space that you had to scroll before you got to the search results, and just completely fucked with the algorithm. And they've intentionally made it worse. So you have to spend more time engaging with their site than finding the information. Like, because it makes me so sad because Google was such a useful piece of it was amazing, right? Like you could search anything and find what you were looking for. And now it's just slop. It's garbage. It's SEO bullshit.
Mhm.
And uh I've had to like, how often are you throwing Reddit on the end of a search
Yeah.
because the Reddit threads that you find are more useful than anything else you'd get just by searching that same thing sans Reddit, right?
All the
Um,
time at this stage. And there's such a deliberate effort as well in the course of selling this to conflate, generative AI, right? To conflate, the technology underlying videos of John F. Kennedy playing Yu-Gi-Oh, right? To
right.
conflate that with, actually useful examples of artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. The first thing that everybody thinks of course, is software that hospitals can use to more easily identify tumors and that sort of thing. There's
Yeah.
useful stuff that they are trying to pretend
absolutely.
that this slop is.
Yeah, like oh gosh, there's some like it's used in the research of like folding proteins or something.
Yeah,
Like
mRNA vaccines, it's very useful, and
yeah,
it's not
like
getting the same investment because it's not going to return as
right.
much of a
Because
profit.
it's a specialty tool. It is not a mass market tool. And so I
Instead, we
feel
need to
like
make like a video, an AI video of like Phineas and Ferb killing Charlie Kirk or something like that.
well,
Like
I'm
that,
okay
like,
with.
yeah, like that seems to be
That
like
seems
that
like a
seems to be
noble use.
acceptable. Yeah, that's
Um
true.
but yeah, like I've played around with this stuff because I bought a new Google Pixel last year because I'm a tech slut and I will buy myself a new phone, whenever the mood strikes me. And as a bonus with that, I got a whole year free of their highest tier of Gemini. And I tried to use it. Like I was like, okay, well I have this thing. Can I make it do anything useful for me? And one of the things I had it do, which these are supposed to be good at, because I like at my company, there are people that use Chat GPT to help them code. Like engineers will use it to help write code. And I was like, okay, I want to make just a simple little game that will, let's see, I'll have it like scrape Wikipedia to create trivia questions. Um, and it made the code for me. And when I tried like plugging it in to use it, there was some kind of syntax error that I couldn't, because I'm not a programmer. I don't know how to code. I was like, but I know enough like to know when shit's broken and like it has to be like syntax or something. So I I literally pasted it all into Gemini. I was like, hey, look this over. See if you can find any syntax errors, things like that. And I don't know how many times I ran it through and it was like, okay, I fixed it. And it's just never worked until I pulled up the code and was looking. I was like, oh, there's a semicolon here when there shouldn't be. And that's why this isn't working. And so it can't even get that right. And it still they still all say like it can get stuff wrong. So check, like, then why am I using it?
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
As a self-described Luddite, I
Yeah.
am impressed that I can even record a podcast. Like I am bad at technology. I've never even attempted to open Chat GPT. I've never made a picture with any. I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
But you were talking about like what is the point of this? Like if it's not profitable, if it's not scalable, and I just always assumed that the point of it, two factors essentially, to take people's jobs, right? To eliminate
Oh yeah.
certain sectors
Yeah.
of the working class, right? And to therefore squeeze the rest of the working class, right? To
Yep.
pay everybody less. And then it also seems to serve the purpose of like dumbing down the public. Like I feel like
Yes.
people are demonstrably stupider that use this a lot, right? Like they're
Yeah, it's teaching people to not think.
right.
It's teaching people to like the I mean, I don't know if any of you have read these nightmarish stories about young people commit like taking their own lives because of talking to ChatGPT. And whenever I think it was on Instagram, it was some Zuck product. They launched these chatbots. One of them was I think it was like a black single mom.
Yes, I saw
And
that.
someone asked like, who designed you? It admitted it was designed by like a team of white guys.
Oh my god.
So like, it's all so gross and obscene. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like it's making people dumber, and we're already in the age of the stupids, especially here
No
in
doubt.
America. And a lot of these executives, there was, I think, Jay Booty from Microsoft, who works on Xbox stuff, said that basically they want the Gen AI to be good enough to replace junior level engineers. So really, what has happened is one of the things I was told when I was like, get into computers, learn to program. There are all these like programs like Launch Code. I have friends that went through this program called Launch Code that was like national, and it taught you how to code, and it helped you get into a job as a programmer. It's almost like they hired all of these people to train these machine learning things so that they could then just push them out the door. And there's gonna, like, there will be pain felt once this bubble pops, because in any market crash, who are the people that are affected the most, right? It's the people who have their 401ks, their Roths, like all of their retirement tied up in the stock market rather than, a pension through a good local union. And I think they just act with a level of, I don't know, like, they just don't care because they know at the end of the day they'll be fine. It's the same issue I have with a lot of liberals, actually, where it's like, you just aren't afraid of being uncomfortable, or you just are afraid of being uncomfortable for a little while. You can't handle that your treats might get taken away by doing the right thing. And I think it's going to cause a lot of pain. But also, I think some really funny things will happen because
it is going to be fun to watch, even if
Yeah.
it is going to personally impact me in a
Yeah.
negative way. You know
And
what I mean?
I feel like I've just rambled so much right now. I have
No,
no
you're
idea
good. You're good.
what I said, but hopefully it was at least a little illuminating. And
Definitely.
like, it's just I have my head in this all the time. And when you're like, it's easy to take for granted that people may not know what the fuck I'm talking about. So if there's anything that I like just to explain really quickly or didn't explain at all, like, please ask, and if I know the answer, I will tell you.
It's like the Emperor's New Clothes. If part of that story was also that the Emperor sent soldiers door to door, just stealing everybody else's clothes as well and burning them.
Yeah, and also the lake boiled away
Right.
while they were doing it. That's the other, like, there are people in Memphis who are getting sick because there are gas turbines powering fucking grok down there. And it's just, we're living in a time where it has never been more apparent that the people at the top just know they can do whatever the fuck they want to us and not face any, at least legal consequences. And it's all incredibly obscene, and it makes me, like, very upset because I believe that technology can be used for good. There are so many amazing things that, like, a very personal example. I have a sister who's epileptic. She's been epileptic since she was a baby. Since she was 9 weeks old, she's been on every medication that exists for epilepsy. She's had multiple brain surgeries, but as medical technology has advanced, they found ways to improve her life a little bit. And, she'll never be able to live a normal life. She'll never be able to live on her own because of her epilepsy. But I've seen technology do good and amazing and wonderful things. And it's so disheartening to see it tried just to be wielded for no other purpose than make line go up, make number be bigger. It just bums me out because I don't love technology. I don't love it as much as I used to. Like, I have a gaming PC that I built myself, and I got last year's iPhone when I switched back to iPhone this year. Like, they broke me. They broke my spirit, guys.
It's funny, like, as a Trekkie, I support Data having rights as an android, and, like, I support his humanity. And it's funny, like, watching this, and I think we can also acknowledge that it's not actually any sort of artificial intelligence.
No, it's not. Anyone that tells you it is that, you say, no, computers cannot think.
They're not there. We are not. This is not Data. No. Yeah.
Computers are fucking stupid. They only know how to do what we tell them to do. Exactly. And so that's another thing that makes me so upset about these. Like, when I see Sam Altman or Mark Zuckerberg be like, oh, it's like your therapist, like, motherfucker. No, it is it's a bunch of code that's analyzing a prompt and then
Mhm.
kicking out something in return that may or may not be helpful, or just lead this person further into their psychosis. Like,
Mhm.
it's just, it makes me so mad. It makes me
Right.
so
Yeah.
upset.
And like I don't know much about what China is developing with their
Mhm.
AI whatever sector or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of what we're doing here and pumping money into it is to like quote unquote compete with China. And I
Okay.
have to just assume that
Yeah.
like because China's building socialism that there is at least I at least trust it a little bit more than I trust what's going on here from purely a profit motive and from understanding that like a lot of this is to take jobs away from people. And I feel like at least with what China's doing, it is more along that what y'all were talking about a minute ago about helping find tumors better and that
Yeah.
side of it that
Mhm.
actually helps humanity.
So China is really interesting because they, so Nvidia is who supplies the GPUs that are used for this. They are one of the big 7 companies in the, like, one of the 7 companies that are propping up the entire U.S. economy.
Yeah,
Because I think,
Nvidia, by the way, is 10% of the U.S. stock market by itself.
yeah, it,
Jesus.
As of today.
um, uh, and yeah, like China, so they didn't have access to these highest tier of GPUs that we have here in the States, because of some trade deals, and or was it embargoes or tariffs? I don't remember what the fuck. Anyway, they didn't have access to the same level of hardware. So what they did, they trained their model using, I think GPUs that were like 2 or 3 generations old, and they were able to achieve basically the same level of results using far less compute power. Like, so once again, the American century of humiliation. Like,
Yeah.
it was DeepSeek, I think is what it's
Yeah.
called. It came out
DeepSeek.
earlier this year. That was something that really shook, the US AI markets. But like they keep just trying to like say, oh no, it's fine. And then just a lack of due diligence on a lot of tech reporters' parts, like to really
Yes.
question and put the screws to these guys because they don't want to lose their access.
Mhm.
Um,
I think
is
that's super important is that you have an entire apparatus of billionaires that are just getting like not questioned by the people that need to be questioning them, need to be asking them questions. I mean, I saw not long ago Sam Altman, head of OpenAI, got asked by a shareholder, "Hey, you have promised to do all of these contracts, like equaling to hundreds of billions of dollars, and you don't have the money to do that. How are you
Yeah.
going to do that?" And he just said, "I'll find someone to buy your shares." Like he just was like, "I'm not going to talk to you."
Yeah, he's
To be
such a
clear, not
fucking
to a
dope.
normal guy, not to a
Oh
normal
god.
guy, someone who is paying his salary to one of his
Yeah.
investors. He said that. That's how little they respect us. And that like we don't have the media asking those proper questions. We've got to be asking those questions ourselves. We've got to be talking
Yeah.
about this. So, folks,
That's that's why we need
it's
people
getting
like
tough.
Ed Zitron that will
Yeah,
like
I will
look at
link.
the
I'll
actual
link
data.
Ed's. I'm gonna link Ed's blog in the show notes because he is really like at the cusp of this stuff. And if AI crashes like this year, he like should get the Pulitzer, like straight up. Like it is.
He's the most disrespected man in history. It'll never
Yeah,
happen.
and he is going to be incredibly vindicated. I mean, he already has been to a large extent. I actually have reached out to Ed to see if he wants to come on the show. We'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
same.
We'll see. Anyway, I think we are come up. We're over an hour at this point, so we're gonna.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I blacked out there. I just
No,
started
you're all
screaming.
right. You are right,
These are
man. You're
just
all right.
this is just the rantings that my wife and child have to hear all the time. So it's always nice to come and yell at a new group of people.
Yeah,
We
but
Not
appreciate
at
it.
you. You're all lovely.
It
The
can
subject.
never.
before we wrap up, I was gonna ask if Lenore or Jen or you too, Johnny, if y'all have any final thoughts on this.
I mean, it
I'm
can
tired
never
now.
be. Yeah. Well, exactly, Johnny. But like, it can never be overstated just how much of a dead end this thing is. So don't feel like you've rambled or anything. Like it's critical to keep this stuff at the forefront of people's consciousness.
Mm-hmm. My nephew, he's 19. My mom took him down to visit this weekend, and he's lived in Waco his whole life, so the big city is a lot. And he saw his first Waymo while we were driving downtown, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And like looked closer and saw there was nobody driving it, right? And I told him, I said, yeah, that's why I keep a bat in my car, just smash those things
I just
because I fucking hate them.
I just wonder what happens when you're drunk off your ass and like a Waymo picks you up and you throw up in it before you get to your destination. Like, does it keep going? Like, this is something my friends and I used to joke about when like the idea of self-driving cars first really broke onto the scene. Is yeah, this is going to be happening in the near future. Like, there are going to be these haunted driverless vehicles that are just increasingly full of vomit, because if you get in one of those and somebody else has vomited, presumably you're also going to be disgusted and throw up in it as well. And so just all over the country, like, you never know if like this is going to be the haunted one.
Well,
It just gets
I'll
worse
say
and worse.
this is a tough segue. But what's not haunted and is good actually is Culture Dumpster by Johnny,
Hey,
and it's a
thank you.
podcast that you should listen to, and it's cool and good.
Thank you
Johnny, you
so
have anything
much.
else you want to say about your work over there?
Yeah. So I moved from Substack, which platforms a lot of Nazis, I learned, to to Patreon, and I have a podcast. I also do occasional newsletters. That's less frequent, but next week I am hopefully recording an episode about one Rod Blagojevich with June and Josh of the Ill Conceived podcast.
Oh, let's go.
Oh yeah.
Next month I'm not doing Dick Cheney because he's dead, but I'm doing an episode about Dick Cheney because I'm so happy he's dead.
Hell yeah.
And
Ding
I need
dong.
to read some books to make me angry about his life all over again.
Have you read
And
Imperial Life in the Emerald City by Rajiv Chandrasekaran?
I have not.
That's a good one, just about all the grift that went on in Baghdad during the early occupation.
Okay. I have To Start a War and Vice are the two books that I bought.
Cool. I gotta put those on my list.
I hate when I start a war. Well, folks, thank you for listening to another episode. And does anyone have a funny, a wacky little sign off here for a really like a lot of like dark shit that we just talked about? Anything?
I do have
cool?
something positive I want to point up, Jacob, which you mentioned in your breakdown at the beginning of this whole thing. Starbucks workers are on strike, of course. Last week, a big old open-ended strike started up. This was after months and months and months of Starbucks corporate dragging their feet and reversing on things that they said they would negotiate on and implementing new policies without bargaining with the Starbucks union. And yeah, now thousands of baristas are on strike, and they demand better hours to improve staffing. They demand higher take-home pay, and they demand resolution for hundreds of outstanding unfair labor practice charges for the union busting that Starbucks has been doing. You can go to sbworkersunited.org, read all about this, donate to their strike fund. This is, you've probably seen the post floating around, but, it's one of those occupations, like coal mining, like any other like union coded occupation, that was once looked down on and derided as something that you couldn't expect to make a decent living from. And when people fight, that perception changes.
Hell yeah.
So boycott Starbucks until this is over, and do
easiest boycott of my life.
All the money you were going to spend on Starbucks or the money you weren't, put that towards the strike fund, and then put your time towards listening to Workers Lit and Culture Dumpster. I think is the takeaway. And also go to the strike line.
And vomit in a Waymo.
And vomit in a Waymo. You gotta vomit in a Waymo.
Do your part.
Isn't that what they're for?
I think so. They're basically toilets.
Yeah.
Have a good one, everybody.
Take care.